time is 6:30 and a quorum being present, I call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for 10/18/2023, 10/4/2023, 11/1/2023, and 9/20/2023. Are there any discussions on the meeting minutes? Nope. Give it a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes listed.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next item on the agenda is agenda item A, request for certificate of compliance, NEP 205 Washington Street, number 22A, substation, DEP file number 305-1137. Is there anybody here for that? If not, Joe, could you fill us in on the details?
Yep. So this is a request for certificate of compliance for an order issued on August 9th, 2021. The conditions of the order were our standard conditions number 1 through number 19 and special conditions number 1 through number 9. The special conditions really just related to construction means and methods, such as dewatering methods, concrete washout locations, etc. An as-built plan has been provided. A letter of substantial compliance has been provided. They also provided a stormwater inspection report submitted to comply with standard condition number 18. I had done a site visit in the presence of the applicant to just review the site. The site looks good just from a visual perspective of comparing what was proposed to what is currently there. So my final comment would be, if the commission chooses to issue a complete certificate of compliance, I would recommend the following ongoing conditions, which would be the conditions listed in section C, condition 19D through L of the order of conditions, which pertains to stormwater operation and maintenance. So that's it.
All right. If there's no further discussion, could I have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance as discussed at this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
You sitting out this one?
I didn't hear the whole thing.
All right. Chair votes aye as well. That passes. All right. Agenda item B, request for certificate of compliance, 90 Terramore Drive, DEP file number 305-1168. Is there anybody here for that? Could you please come up and introduce yourself?
Jeff Medwar, 90 Terramore Drive.
And can you please walk us through what you're here to present?
So we're just looking for a certificate of compliance for a project that we had in our backyard. Worked with Joe. He did a site visit recently on the pool that we added, patio, a shed, and some other work in the backyard. Did some tree cutting and just general landscaping in the backyard.
All right. Any discussion from the commission members? If not, Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
Yep. So this pertains to an order of conditions issued October 11th, 2022. Something of note was special condition number 5 of the order states that a final tree line or unaltered vegetation line is to be shown on the as-built. That information was missing on the as-built. However, during my site visit, the tree line is approximately representative of where the fence is shown on the as-built. And that also wraps around the shed. It looked like there was maybe slight encroachment into the 25-foot no disturb zone based on the as-built. But that could have been from previous conditions.
On the as-built itself, an
Yeah.
encroachment? I mean, we stayed outside of that, where we put the sheds, the retaining wall, and the fence may cut into there, but that's okay. we had approval to go into the 25-foot with the fence, but
Yeah.
any of the other work that we did as part of the project was outside of the 25.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. It's very, very small in how it's shown. But just figured I'd point that out to the
Sure.
commission. Let's see. So if the commission were to issue a complete certificate of compliance, I would recommend an ongoing condition of special condition number 6, which is just relating to the discharge of pool water. So just keeping that on the certificate of compliance. That's it.
All right, if there's no further discussion from the commission, could I have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance as discussed at this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item C is a request to extend an order of conditions for 170 North Street, DEP file number 305-1136. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
Hi, good evening. Maureen Harold, Norris Environmental Services here on behalf of the homeowners. I'm here tonight to request a 3-year extension. Just due to COVID, inflation, and the skyrocketing building costs, the homeowners did not construct the barn that was permitted. So if possible, we'd like a 3-year extension.
Does the homeowner still intend to do the project?
Absolutely, that's why I'm here this evening.
I just want to make sure do they have a timeline on when they want to start the project?
You know, I'm not sure of the timeline, but I think it's sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I think they just wanted to have the
'Cause a lot of those
construction.
costs are still up, so I just want to make sure they're not waiting 2 years and this is kind of just going to be a continuance on continuance, so.
I don't think that's the intent.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the commission?
Do they have any, have they started anything at all? Do they have any stormwater things in place or has anything been done?
You mean like regarding erosion controls and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff? I don't believe that's been done, no.
Do you know, Joe?
I haven't been out to do a site visit, but my understanding is that the project hasn't started, so
So nothing's been put in place? Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Joe, do you have any additional questions or comments?
My only other comment is that this is pertaining to an order that was issued May 27th, 2021, and expires May 27th, 2024. So the extension, if the 3 years is granted, would extend that to May 27th, 2027.
All right.
That's it.
If there's no further discussion, could I have a motion to extend the order of conditions as discussed at this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. You're at agenda item D, public hearing, request for a determination of applicability for Robert Weatherhall on behalf of the town of Tewksbury, 900 Chandler Street. Could you please introduce yourself for the record?
Hi, I'm Bob Weatherall, and I'm working with the town of Tewksbury, Joe in particular, on various boardwalk structure projects in the year ahead and beyond. This is a project in Chandler Wellfields that is an existing 200-foot boardwalk that is in need of repair work. And we propose to replace the existing culvert pipe support, plastic pipe with support with parapressure treated posts at each of those locations. And that way we'll be able to flatten the existing deck of it, the boardwalk, and continue to use that as it is. It's just that the pipes, the reason we think this is worthy of RDA is that the pipe is, in my opinion, of greater ground contact than the two posts that would replace it would be. So minimal impact on the site.
And when you're performing this work, what side will you be going in from? There's the entrance from Whipple Road.
Yeah.
Or there's, I forget what street it's on.
Kent Street?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Kent
keep going
Street's, Joe, you might have a stronger opinion on this than I, but in the work we've been doing so far out there in the planning and access to it, we use Kent Street. So that's the one I'm familiar with. The access is good.
With the recent wind, there's a few trees that are down, one right before that boardwalk, so,
I haven't been out there for a few weeks.
yeah. I ran on it this morning. But, all right, any questions or comments from the commission?
Is this all gonna be handwork or is there gonna be any machinery?
No machines. Good question. Yeah, no machines. And the posts, by the way, the posts would be, we typically cut points on the end of these 4x4s and hand drive them into the ground. So no excavation either.
Perfect.
Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
I think Bob covered it all. The boardwalk has just become warped over time, so the idea is to replace the corrugated plastic pipe, which Bob says, you know, it does have more contact with the ground, with the wetland, and just replacing it with more sturdy, long-term, more durable posts. It's worth mentioning that that boardwalk was originally permitted through an RDA that was approved by the commission. So this is kind of just an RDA to do some maintenance on that to kind of improve what's already there. I guess I would include as part of the conditions for the RDAs, something that we just talked about, which is just no heavy machinery, just hand tools
Yeah,
for
yeah.
installation.
Then we could walk the stock in. It's not much material for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the pipe getting all pulled up?
Yeah, it just
out of
sits
it?
on the ground. You know, this is, when I came on board to do this kind of work for the town, I was led out there by one of the open space volunteers. And I think the culvert pipe was something that was a volunteer-led thing. It was an idea that was brought from some other town, and it was considered quick and easy. But each little section settles differently than its adjacent section, so the whole thing is sort of down the way. So sort of a nice idea by a volunteer with best of intentions, but it just seems to be not a great solution to doing a flat boardwalk that's durable. But yeah, so no, they're not excavated, they're just perched on whatever particular patch of that land.
So you'll be pulling that out? That
Yeah,
pipe
they'll be
out?
removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another boardwalk in the Pinnacle Street, and it's made a similar way, but they're both wetlands, but this one is a lot more wet, and I think it's just warped, because the other one's in, you know, pretty good condition as far as I
Yeah,
remember.
I imagine freeze thaw kind of affects them as
Yeah.
well.
All right, so if there's no other discussion, I will entertain a motion to,
The public hearing.
oh, yes, that's right. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody from the public who would like to get up and make a comment, now is the time to do so. I'll give you guys a few seconds to do that. All right, not seeing anybody get up, could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And could I have a motion to grant the determination of applicability?
Negative.
Could I have a negative determination of applicability?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item E, public hearing, request for determination of applicability, Arminio Grasso, 15 Plunkett Way. Would you just introduce yourselves for the record?
Sure.
Michelle Grasso, 15 Plunkett Way.
Good evening, Emilio Grasso, owners of 15 Plunkett Way.
And what do you plan on doing?
So we're here to request installing a 18 by 36 pool in our backyard with the west side of our parcel. With the engineering map that we submitted, a corner of the pool falls within the 25-foot buffer zone. So we're here to ask for your approval on that.
All right. Any questions or comments from the commission? Not hearing anything. Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
So this is an RDA for an in-ground pool. So a previous RDA was filed in 2021 and approved by the commission. It was approved for an in-ground pool. The difference is that in-ground pool was proposed outside of the 50-foot no disturb. So now there was a new building permit that was filed, but the dimensions and the location were a little bit different, and it was shifted closer to the wetlands. So there's since been a new site plan produced where the wetlands were placed on that plan and along with the new location of that pool. So based on my analysis of that site plan provided, there's about 210 square feet of pool area that encroaches into the no-build zone. And there is about 3,200 square feet of no-build zone that's currently drawn on the site plan within the lot. So the proposed encroachment is below the 10% threshold of our bylaw. So the 10% would be 320 square feet of encroachment that's allowed. Whereas that's only 210 square feet. I reviewed the wetland boundary, which was previously provided in the last RDA application, so nothing has changed there, and that's still accurate. And if the commission were to issue a negative determination of applicability, the following conditions may be considered. Installing and maintaining sediment controls, which shall include a properly entrenched silt fence and/or stake straw wattles around the area of construction, as to prevent the deposition of sediment from construction activities into nearby wetlands or wetland resource areas. Sediment controls shall be installed prior to construction activity commencing and shall remain in place until all areas of disturbed soil and other erodible materials have been stabilized at the site. So just establishing the perimeter sediment controls. Prior to any construction activity commencing, the following must be completed. The sediment control shall be installed by the applicant or an agent of the applicant, and the conservation agent shall inspect and approve of the installed sediment controls. Number 3, soil stockpile shall be covered and properly secured whenever not in use. Soil stockpile shall be surrounded with a silt fence and/or straw wattle. If dewatering is necessary from the excavation pit for the installation of the in-ground pool, water from the excavation pit shall be pumped through an appropriately sized sediment filter bag prior to being discharged onto the ground. The appropriately sized filter bag shall be surrounded by a silt fence or straw wattle. So when you're digging for the in-ground pool, if you're hitting the groundwater table, just pumping that through a dewatering bed or a sediment filter bag.
Okay.
Sediment controls and dewatering locations shall be at least 25 feet away from the nearby wetlands. And number 6, pool water shall not be discharged into the nearby wetland areas. That's it.
All right, I just want to add one thing. Where is the pump, where is the equipment to run the pump going to be located on this plan?
In the back of the house. So I just built,
When I'm looking at the pool, where is it going to be located around the pool?
are you looking at it from the back of my
I
house?
am looking at it from the front of your house.
Okay, so on the left side of our home, we built an addition. In the back of that addition, we have 2 air conditioning condensers. We're gonna put the pump right next to that.
All right, so that is dangerously close to the wetlands. So we just need to make sure Joe's number 6, traditionally, people don't put hoses on their pumps to backwash and to pump down.
Okay,
So I'm concerned you're gonna be discharging into the wetlands.
I see.
So
I
we
didn't
just
think
need to
that,
keep our eye on that one.
okay,
That's all.
thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commission? If not, this is a public hearing, and I will open up to the public. If anybody would like to get up and make a comment, now's the time to do so. Not seeing anybody rise, could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And could I have a motion for a negative determination of applicability as discussed at this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
All right, agenda item F has been continued. This will be continued to April 3rd.
Just open the public hearing.
Yeah. This is a public hearing, request for determination of applicability for Arthur Marcos. It's for multiple roadways. The public hearing is now open. I'm not going to close it yet. If anybody's here and wants to make a comment while we discuss it, you will have an opportunity to do that at the next meeting. But for the time being, I am going to request a motion to continue this to the April 3rd, 2024 meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, agenda item G, public hearing, request for determination of applicability for Bowler on behalf of Melmark, 910 Andover Street. Is there anybody here for that?
The laptop, is it possible to connect?
Yes.
For a small fee.
I think it may automatically turn on.
Joe,
Oh, is it coming?
it started.
Do I need to? There we go. Got it.
And before you begin, can you just introduce yourself for the record?
Randy Myron with Bowler here on behalf of the applicant Melmark.
And the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so this is for, there we go. This is for 910 Andover Street. Hold on, bear with me. I don't know if that's me. I'll just give you folks an overview. It's for 910 Andover Street. It's a 5-acre property. There's a couple buildings up front. And
I can see something in the
Yeah.
reflection, but the monitor isn't turning on for me.
And what we're looking to do is to essentially keep those buildings, those 2 buildings up front, and there's a small, I call it almost like a little campus-style school that's going to be developed for Melmark. Melmark is they're a program that provides education and rehabilitation for both kids with autism and special needs, kids and adults for that matter. And it's essentially a series of small buildings with some parking areas, driveways that are being developed within the back of the property, in addition to the 2 buildings up front that will remain today. And what's happening, and I apologize for not, and I'm not sure what's going on with my computer, but there's just a small portion of the 100-foot buffer clips the rear portion of the property. It's about 700 square feet. of the buffer. There's an off-site wetland that we had delineated, and we're doing a little bit of landscaping, a little bit of regrading within that area. You know, and, you know, as part of this project, this is our first public hearing with the town, but we are meeting with the planning board next week. That'll be our first meeting with them, and we're expecting, you know, a couple meetings with the planning board. You know, the project is going, you know, it's going through the site plan review process. And just to give you a little bit of overview of some other things, you know, there's a new stormwater management system to help mitigate the increase in impervious surfaces. There's a series of underground drain manholes, catch basins. I think there's 3 underground infiltration systems meeting DEP standards in terms of water, in terms of stormwater management improvements, water quality improvements. There's erosion controls proposed around the limits of the work, including that area where we're working within the buffer. And that's, I mean, that's kind of it in terms of a high-level overview. Again, we are meeting with the planning board next Monday on the 25th, so we anticipate there'll be some additional concerns from them. But because the area we're working in is so small, you know, we feel comfortable that there's really nothing else that's going to be proposed within that area beyond some landscaping and grading. So we would hope that you folks would be comfortable issuing a negative determination. That's it.
And I think you already mentioned it, but the buildings in the front of the property, those are staying as is, nothing's.
That's
touching
correct.
them.
There is a little bit of, and the architect will be here to speak to that on Monday night, but there's a little bit of interior work being done to the building, and I apologize, you can't see it, but to the building, I guess to the front right-hand side of the site, there's a little bit of interior work being done to that building.
Are the buildings in the front your buildings also?
The building
Are they operated by your company?
by Melmark, no,
Okay, okay.
they are not, no.
It seems pretty straightforward to me. There's really only that tiny section in the back that's in our jurisdiction.
Yep.
I personally don't have any issues with it. If there's any other questions or comments from the commission, please. But if not, Joe, do you have
Just
any?
have one question. Is part of this property going to be in Lowell too? Are you discharging the flows into Lowell? Because this is like right on the Lowell to.
It is right on the line. We're discharging them to, essentially, the property kind of
Because it
slopes
slopes like
from
it's on
front
the
to
left
back.
side. So
It slopes from front to back. We're maintaining that same, I guess, discharge point. There's an overflow. There's like an emergency overflow from
Yeah.
some of the underground infiltration systems, and it's going towards the back, which is where everything goes today. But of course, we're reducing the runoff rates,
okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not really in our purview, but I just know it's like right on the boundary.
Yeah, it is. We had to notify butters.
So you're notifying Lowell too?
We
okay.
did. Yep, we did.
Yeah, and it becomes much denser right next door.
Right.
So I'm sure there's a lot of abutters that you have to open.
Right.
Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't. Like the applicant had pointed out, that it really is only a small portion of the work that's located in a jurisdictional area for the Conservation Commission. And that's beyond 50 feet away. It's probably like 75 to 100 feet out. There's also a road separating it, so I have no issues.
All right. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody from the public who would like to get up and make a comment, now is the time to do so. I'll give you a few seconds. Not,
I've only been getting pieces here and there, so I'd like to know where it butts up against the Merrimack Meadows. If you look at the top, it doesn't stay there the first time, it's like right at the edge. So when they're coming down Merrimack Meadows, they're right up against all of that. They're right up against it. How much traffic is this going to cause?
all right, I'm gonna stop you right now. You're allowed to make a comment, but
This is my first time ever here, so.
yeah,
so
it's nothing against like what you're saying. It's just that if you continue the conversation, I have to ask you, get up and introduce yourself so it can all be on the record. Yo, Yeah.
Right here to the podium?
Yeah,
Do you open the public hearing? Or do you want to technically open it?
yeah, I started opening.
Okay.
Yes, just introduce yourself and then
Yep,
you can.
my name's Kathy Morricone, and I live in the Merrimack Meadows. And this thing keeps going out, so I can't catch it all. But anyways, I got the notice in the mail with the registered thing, and that's when I started seeing stuff. And I'm like, my God, that's my neighbor, that's my backyard. And I have to say, the town did a great job with the lights there and everything on Andover Street and River Road. So how much of this trafficking and all that's gonna cause even more
So,
interference? Because that was really a bad section, and now it's like, even my daughter, who's 27, had said when she's there, Mom, these are the best lights ever. So, I know that sounds weird, but,
so I understand your concern about the traffic.
Yep.
That's not actually in our jurisdiction to even really discuss it.
Okay.
I'm assuming that there's going to be some sort of traffic study. As the applicant mentioned, they're going to be back here, this very room, on Monday.
Okay.
I hate to, send a bunch of people to the planning board.
No, I hear ya.
But you can ask those sorts of questions at the planning board, and they'll have much more detailed answers for you.
okay, and you mentioned the front, it's hard to hear back there, I'm sorry, there was all kinds of paper. I have a problem hearing to begin with, but you mentioned the stores up front, they're staying?
As far as we know, that,
The buildings are staying. There's a little bit of interior work being done to this building here to accommodate, there's like, this is
Which building you talk, oh, the one on the side there?
the one on the side, that's correct. There's a little bit of interior work being done to accommodate this addition, which is kind of connecting to this existing building.
are they staying as their current, businesses, or are they all
So
being?
I don't know exactly. The architect will be here on Monday night, and he will speak to that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that's my concern.
Yeah.
I would love a photo of that or something, just so that I can take it home to my family, because like I said, I'm not getting anything out of this. I
Yeah,
can't even take a picture of it.
And I apologize, we don't
That's all
really know
right.
what's going on with this. It's usually much better. All of this information should be available online. Can you confirm that, Joe?
Please, get me.
Yeah, so usually new public hearing materials are posted on our website, either under the planning board section, if it's applicable to them.
I tried to look for it, I couldn't find it, so.
Okay, so yeah, you can,
I'll get my daughter to help me, but it's under the planning board?
or conservation, you can contact myself or our town planner. We
Okay,
can email you directly.
all right, thank you.
Sorry, we couldn't answer more
Yeah.
questions, it's just not in our jurisdiction.
Hi, I'm Linda Paris, and I also live in Merrimack Meadows. And I am very concerned about the amount of water runoff. I understand there's going to be a lot of non-permeable surfaces in here. There's going to be a road that's going to basically be circling the entire perimeter. And I'll tell you right now, the sump pump in my unit runs pretty much 24/7, 365 now. If there's even less permeable surfaces for that water to absorb into, I think it's going to be a disaster. And the building I'm in is the very first building in Merrimack Meadow as far as proximity. It's the closest building to what's being built here. So I am very concerned about the water runoff, and, even a little bit of encroachment at this point seems like too much to me, based on the amount of water that's coming out of there now. I don't see how, if you're building, 6 new buildings in there, that it's gonna improve the situation. So I have a lot of concerns about that.
I'll give you a chance to address those comments if you choose to.
Yeah, I mean, so we are, as I stated, we are meeting the stormwater standards. And I know that as part of the planning board process, we're also going through a peer review process. So this will be peer reviewed by a third party. Again, we're meeting the standards, we're reducing the rates that are generated as a result of the increase in impervious surfaces. So there shouldn't be any impact to any of the neighboring properties. We're also not proposing any work on the neighboring properties. All the work is contained within the property itself. So we also did some soil testing out there to check groundwater levels within our property. And they varied, but at times they actually were fairly deep towards the front, and it got a little bit more shallow towards the back. So I suspect as you go further closer to the river, the groundwater levels probably get more shallow, and hence that might be part of the issue with the adjacent property.
This hasn't been reviewed by a third party for our purposes, has it?
Well, the part of the project that's in a jurisdictional area is basically being converted from existing lawn, which is what exists right now, but they're just kind of modifying that to reshape it into additional existing lawn. So as far as what's in a jurisdictional area, it's just grading and landscaping of what's already pervious surface. So it's already lawn there.
But this is showing a large, I don't know whether you call it a driveway or a road, going all the way around the property, including right at the back of the property.
Yeah, so you're correct, but the commission has, their jurisdiction is wetlands and then 100 feet from those wetlands. And so what I'm saying is that gray shaded area in the top right-hand corner, that's all that the project is affecting from the commission's jurisdiction. Your concern is still being addressed, but just under the planning board where they have peer review engineers reviewing their stormwater calculations to verify that the applicant is meeting the stormwater standards.
Okay, I was able to see on the last time it just kind of flashed up, and you pointed to the gray area.
Yeah.
So that building that they're building, it seems awfully close to that gray area. You're telling me that's within the setback from that area?
Yes. So
It is?
the building is not located in the jurisdictional area.
But doesn't it have a setback? I thought everything had a setback from the wetlands.
Yeah, which is 100 feet, and so the building.
So that's not 100 feet.
So the wetlands are off property. Where that gray area is the furthest extent of the 100 feet itself. So the building is probably 105, 110 feet away, so that's no longer in our jurisdiction because it's greater than 100 feet away. That make sense?
If you were to stand on that area of the property, the actual wetlands would be 100 feet. But if you were inside that building or at the edge of the building, it would be greater than 100 feet away. So it's no longer in our jurisdiction.
Okay.
So I think your concerns are more applicable for what would be discussed with the planning board. Because they're the ones reviewing not just this small gray area in the corner of the lot, they're reviewing the entire redevelopment, stormwater standards, et cetera.
Okay. I mean, I remain very concerned, and I think a lot of my neighbors are very concerned also.
Hi, my name is Michael Farmer, resident of Merrimack Meadows, and I think it'd be a good idea for Bowler and Melmac to meet with the residents of Merrimack Meadows at their clubhouse so that people can walk to the meeting. I think a lot of goodwill would go that way and would probably do a lot of fence mending. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from you? Any questions or comments from the commission?
I guess, do you want to address any comments that were made or say anything else?
No, I will certainly mention to my client, to Melmark, about meeting with the neighbors, though. Yep.
All right, and we appreciate, anything you can do to reassure.
Certainly, yep.
The community. All right, so as far as we are concerned, the public meeting is still open. If there's anybody else who would like to get up and make a comment, now is the time to do so. Not seeing anybody rise. Could I have a? Yeah, if you could.
Sorry, I'm kind of late. I just would like a little.
Could you just introduce yourself for the record?
Marie Gideon. What else did you need? That's it?
Just, your name, but you can make a comment.
Okay. So today, all you guys would like to talk about is that little section right there that's like close to our road. Is that what I'm hearing? That's correct?
Yes, that's the jurisdictional area that we are discussing right now.
Wow. Okay.
The entire redevelopment would be discussed with the planning board. So the commission only has certain jurisdictions. In this case, it's just that small section, but the entire redevelopment, stormwater standards, that would be addressed with the planning board, with the town.
There's a meeting with the planning board Monday night at 7 o'clock.
Okay. So what are you guys planning on doing with that little jurisdiction area?
We haven't technically come to a decision yet. The applicant is just planning on regrading the surface, and it's essentially lawn right now, and it's gonna stay essentially lawn under their plans. But if you would like to,
No, that's correct.
yeah.
Okay, so that's all for today?
Yeah, that's all that we can discuss.
On a certified letter? On a certified letter? This is so disrespectful of other people's time.
It's required by our bylaws, not.
Yeah.
Okay, certified. Okay, well, that's all. Thank you.
I have a quick question.
If you could get up and, no, I'm sorry, I have to insist that you go up there for the public hearing.
Jean Wood, Merrimack Meadows. I'm just questioning the entrances and exits from this place. Are they gonna be changed? Because I heard there's gonna be a road around the whole thing.
As far as I am aware,
Has anybody taken traffic into consideration? Because there are times that I have to wait on River Road even to take a left into Merrimack Meadows because of the traffic.
and I understand your concern, but that's not what we're allowed to talk
You're not
about
the planning
today.
board, it's.
That will be discussed at the planning board meeting on Monday.
Okay, are they gonna have any traffic evaluation?
I do not know that. It's
Do you know anything?
different boards, I don't know anything about health board. I don't know anything about the
I just know
ZBA.
it's an awful small space to put 5 buildings and major roads in. So if there's gonna be like 75 more parking spots, that means there's 75 more cars coming in and out of there. And it's a hassle right now. I just don't know what it's gonna be like after this place is built.
And
And it's not you, it's the planning.
yeah,
board.
I do
I
sympathize with
feel
you,
sorry for the
but
planning board, I'll tell you right now.
what's that?
I feel sorry for the planning board. They must get a lot.
I feel bad for them too, but, they're elected, so.
What time do you say the meeting was on Monday?
I believe it's at 7. I haven't seen the agenda.
7, yes.
Okay, okay.
All right, if there's no further public comment, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And could I have a negative determination of applicability for this, as discussed at this meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Give a few extra seconds. All right. Agenda item H, public hearing, a request for a determination of applicability, American Building Solutions on behalf of Donna Gonzalez, 75 Carolina Road. Is there anybody here for that?
Hi.
May you please introduce yourself for the record?
Hi, my name is Donna Gonzalez. I live at 75 Carolina Road.
And what do you plan on doing?
I need to have new front stairs put in and a deck, which I want to extend.
All right. What is the parking situation going to be? I'm joking.
I live on a dead end.
We need a traffic study.
Yeah. It's just you're rebuilding the deck, but expanding the deck.
Yes, and it's going away from the wetlands, so it's going towards like the left side of my house.
And what type,
versus the wetlands and to the right side of my house. Well, depending on which way you're looking at it.
what type of footings does the deck have? And
Right now, it is, I'm not even sure. It's just probably like your standard size deck that they put on a house back in the 90s, whichever that would be. And I think I want to extend it. I think that it's 10 feet. They're not here, so I don't know the exact measurements, sorry.
Yeah, it says 10 feet.
It says
on
10
it.
by
10 feet, that's what I thought. So right now, I want to say maybe it's 11 by, I don't know, 11 by 12? I don't know.
The plan dictates 10 by 10. I assume yellow is existing.
Nope.
Okay,
Blue-
yeah.
Blue is existing, but
Blue
it's
is
10 by 10.
existing?
No, you're right,
Okay.
it's 10
Yeah.
by 10.
So it's 10 by 10, okay.
And is anything happening with the front porch? Is that also being rebuilt or?
Well, it's wood, and, you know, they're falling apart. I need new stairs. That's not changing. I'm using the existing, you know, stairs, like it's gonna be the same size, I should say. Like I'm not going out on that or anything. The only difference will be, it won't be wood, it will be like composite, yeah.
So the front stairs are in the wetland?
I don't know, that was listed on the thing, so I just said it.
So, if I may, so the application is for the proposed replacement of an existing deck, but they're also proposing to expand on that further away from the wetlands. So the existing deck is approximately 18 feet away from the nearest wetland. The front steps are even further away, and it's just like just front steps.
Yeah,
Okay, so they don't really have any impact of what we,
Yeah, so, you know, it's still, you know, work
permit,
occurring.
it's just
Yeah,
on the, okay.
yeah, it was just listed on that, that's why I said it, I wasn't sure.
I just didn't see any measurements
Yeah.
or anything off, so I was kind of confused.
All right, if there's, Joe,
Joe, have you been on site for this?
yeah.
Is the pool in the wetlands? Or is it I just can't see where the wetlands are delineated exactly. Not that
I
that's
mean,
what
they're
this
certainly
project
not
is,
in the wetland, but
it's just hard to tell from that mass map or aerial.
no.
Okay.
There's some buffer, I mean, but it's not much. I'm not sure if, you know, the lot was probably constructed prior to us, you know.
I was just curious.
So I don't have an issue with it, but it's still something that warrants at least an RDA. But
all right. If there's no further comment from the commission or from our agent, this is a public hearing. I will open it up to the public to make comments if they so choose. Not seeing anybody, could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And could I have a motion for a negative determination of applicability as discussed at this meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you for your time.
All right, we have two continuances. This next one, the public hearing is currently open from the last meeting, I believe. It's open right now, but you will have a chance to speak the next time we discuss this at the April 17th meeting. So not the next meeting, but the one after that. Could I have a motion to continue public hearing, abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, Norse Environmental Services, Inc., on behalf of Yvonne Cormier Construction Corp., 1596 Andover Street, DEP file number 305-1194 to the April 17th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, and similar to the last one, but not to the same meeting, this will be continued to the April 3rd meeting. This is, or could I have a motion to continue public hearing, notice of intent, Civil Design Consultants, Inc., on behalf of LNG Main Street LLC, 1167, 1177, and 1187 Main Street, DEP file number 305-1192.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. That was continued to the April 3rd. All right. Public hearing, notice of intent, Norse Environmental Services, Inc., on behalf of GR Development LLC, 402 Main Street, DEP file number 305-1198. Could you please introduce yourselves for the record?
Hi, good evening, Maureen Harold from Norse Environmental Services.
Hi, Garrett Picarillo, engineer with GPI.
All right. And the floor is yours.
All right, I have just colored grading plans, if you want to see that.
Did you
Same.
send that to Joe
Yep.
already? We should have it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so we filed a notice of intent with the commission to raise a greenhouse, chain link fence, screen, loam, hydro seed, and landscape within the 100-foot buffer zone of a BVW. This property is the Tewksbury Florist and Greenery, just to give the commission orientation. The bordering vegetated wetland is located off-site across the street. Really just the outer 100-foot buffer zone falls within the property itself. We meet all of the commission setbacks in terms of the 25-foot no disturb and the 50-foot no build. We received DEP file number, no comments were posted, and I can open it up to the commission with any questions or concerns.
All right. Anybody on the commission have any questions or comments?
Who's going to be managing the O&M for the stormwater management system for the property?
It'll be the property owner.
Okay.
Is that GR Development LLC? That's the property owner?
Not currently, so it will be the owner at the time. Currently, it's not under GR Development, they're just the applicant.
Okay. So you don't know who the owner is going to be?
We know who it is currently, and we know who it is ultimately. It's just the real estate piece isn't completed, so they're technically not the owner on the deed
Okay.
currently. But
They have a plan, though, to,
that's their plan,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the applicant is the car wash operator for what we're proposing.
Joe, do you have any questions or comments?
So this is kind of similar to 910 Andover Street, where there's a wetland across the street. It's a redevelopment project, but the only portion of the redevelopment project just involves regrading, landscaping, in this case demolition of some buildings, tearing up some impervious surface, I believe. So the only condition I would suggest to the commission, if they were to issue an order of conditions and approval of the notice of intent, would be to have perimeter sediment controls within a Conservation Commission jurisdictional area shall at least consist of a 12-inch diameter compost filter tube. Alternative equivalent sediment controls may be approved by the conservation agent. And then our standard conditions, number 1 through number 4, and number 9 through number 19.
Great.
So just to be clear, all these buildings are going to be removed?
Correct.
And then a car wash constructed?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
All right, if there's no further discussion from the commission nor from our agent, this is a public hearing. Now is the time, if anybody from the public would like to make a comment, I ask that you go to the podium and introduce yourself. Not seeing anybody rise, could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And could I have a motion to approve this notice of intent as discussed at the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. All right, agenda item L is landscape update discussion, 300 Ames Pond. Joe, could you fill us in on the details for this?
Yeah, so this was an update from when we discussed this in July, or December, January. Basically, just me reaching out to the owner of the 300 Ames Pond property and who has the order of conditions. The update is to get an update on the landscaping aspect. Sure thing. The update is pertaining to the landscaping aspect of the project where the application of loom and the planting of a tree buffer. So I had reached out to the owner. The owner had said that the plan is to conduct the planting in the spring and hopefully have the project wrapped up in the summer. As far as erosion and sediment controls, I'm planning on doing, or tentatively planning on doing a site visit March 28th, just to see how the perimeter sediment controls have held up. But let me just pull it up.
So no real updates at this time besides that on what they're planning on already doing?
More or less. I'm just reading the conversation to make sure I haven't overlooked anything. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Any questions or comments from the
No,
commission?
spring is kind of vague. I'd like them to give the abutters a, hey, we're gonna try to do it beginning of May. Spring is vague, in my opinion. I don't know how you folks feel, but it seems like it's kind of a contentious issue.
Just to be clear, are you more suggesting that
Let's get a date of work to be started,
all right,
is
but
what I'm looking for.
to be
Is
sent
that
to
way we
us,
can-
not to
we can-
actually notify the abutters by,
No, I say, let's let him tell us, look, we're gonna
all right,
start by this date, unless,
Schedule, if we could get a
yeah,
schedule.
let's get a date.
all right,
And I think that would be fair to the abutters.
all right.
And can you give us an update after March 28th, Joe?
Yep.
All right, if there's no further discussion, so you're gonna reach out.
Laura O'Connor, 70 Cardigan. So for March 28th, that date, if there is no further update or no further planting schedule, is there any further recourse or any further plan that this committee would plan to hold the property owner accountable?
At this time, no, I don't believe that the property owner or applicant is, they're not really, I don't believe they're under any obligation to do anything besides what their plan says.
Okay, I appreciate that, but I just wanted it said
Yeah,
aloud.
We don't have like the jurisdiction essentially.
Understand.
Hate to bring that up again.
I understand. I just wanted it on record.
Right, that's why I said, let's get a date for you folks.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, spring is vague.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bob O'Brien, 110 Cardigan Road. I believe there is an obligation of the enforcement of the order of conditions. I'm not going to go over that in detail right now. I appreciate the Conservation Commission pursuing some of these questions for us, but this has been going on since October, November, December. There was a lengthy conversation. It would be brought up again in March, which we were patient and waiting 3 or 4 months. And the information we got now on March 20th is the same thing as going back to October and November. And what recourse do we have, to piggyback what one of the abutters says? If we're not happy with the answers we're getting, who do we see? What can we do? It's the order of conditions. We understand what the intentions are of the order of conditions, but, and this is not a reflection of the developer, it's a reflection on this community that's representing us as residents. There's enforcements within the order of conditions, and I don't see any of it happening. I don't see any of it happening. The conservation and the first line on the order of conditions said he is responsible with the guidance and direction of the Concom to pursue information on the order of conditions. And after 4 or 5 months, I don't see that happening. Who do we turn to? I asked this in December, what recourse do we have? Who do we turn to? Do I contact town management, assistant town management? What do we see? We're at our wit's end here. We're at our wit's end. We realize that, and we're anticipating the landowner has 2 more years to clean up that property. We understand that. We understand that. Our concern is if he starts now in June, July, and August, whatever they plant is not going to seed and take properly. So we got another growing season gone. And when there's heavy aggressive activity up there, whatever the growing season they've already put in place, its chance of survival is going to be remote. Regarding the standard order of conditions, the whole thing is the engineering studies that you folks, you approved the extension on I don't have the date, but you extended it on 11/26. All right. You based that information on data that was produced in 2019. You folks brought up some very solid points last Concom meeting about with another proposal about things have changed since 2019. Talked about the environmental changes, the water flow changes, about what's going on Darby Creek, I believe, with McClellan Oil. You folks brought up some very solid points about the wetland changes. There's wetland changes that are based upon this extension that go back to 2019. And if it's pushed on 2 or 3 more years, who knows what's going to happen out there? That needs to be looked at. In the order of conditions that are documented on the WP5A form, doesn't have a town signature on it. It doesn't have a date. It doesn't have a rev level. It has nothing. It's like it looks like something printed off someone's home computer that could attach the WP document. I brought that up before. Do we use the same order of conditions? We've had a lot of order of conditions, a lot of land and storage permits issued in the past 6 months to a year by you people. Do we use that same standard order of conditions with every form? How legally binding is that document without a rev level, a date on it, without a signature on it? You know, looking for clarity, look for some people representing us. Again, there's the date, the 2019 date. It was issued on July 3rd, 2019 for the wetland studies. Does the commission see any issues with this in March of 2024, 5 years later? Enforcement, adherence to the permit, that was talked about.
Sir,
Okay.
it seems like you're starting to repeat yourself.
Well, I'm repeating myself because I'm not getting answers to prior discussions.
I don't feel comfortable answering any of your questions right now. I'm not.
Okay,
You
so,
know,
okay.
I can't answer those right now.
It's very frustrating.
And I understand that it's very frustrating.
You folks are with us, I believe that. Thank you for the support.
You know, if you want to send, emails to get better clarity, that might be a better solution.
This board member brought that up and he says, yeah, okay. It's just, so, all right. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you supporting us, the Concom members. We're at our wit's end. And this lady brought up the same question, where do we go? And by non-answers is telling us where we have to go. Thank you.
So before we continue, this is actually not a public hearing. I'm, allowing you guys to speak because it's important to have this discussion, but we've already taken up a lot of time. I just ask that you keep it tight, I guess. Thank you.
Valerie Seidel, Overlook Drive. What will be reviewed on March 28th? What are the details that you're going to be looking at?
So the purpose of the site visit in March 28th was just doing a periodic review of the perimeter sediment controls. So at the last meeting, it was brought up that there might have been some failure to enforce one of the conditions, which was doing the 3-month periodic review. So I just took it upon myself to go out there which would be 3 months from the last time there was an update, which was in December. So I'm just gonna do a periodic review of their sediment controls, so just seeing what condition
So
they're
you'll
in.
review like the silt fence to
Yeah.
see if any, okay.
Yep, so we walk the entire property, inspect all of that, and make changes as necessary.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, Ken Alley, 100 Cardigan Road. The planting plan has been before you, that's just a preliminary plan, isn't it? Is that what's going to be used to plant the buffer? Should more be done? Should there be some mention of grassing the berms? Because, I mean, the weeds last year were, feet tall. It's not the best thing to look at. But anyway, I guess my point is the board expecting to get a planting plan from the developer at some point prior to when he plants?
Do we have anything like that yet, or?
It would be whatever approved
Yeah.
plan is associated with the order of conditions.
And we can't change the order of conditions without the applicant also agreeing to it.
Well, okay, I'm not asking to change anything. I'm just wondering, I don't want, all of a sudden on the, at some point when the planting is scheduled to begin or something, as somebody brings up, well, wait a minute, this has not been an approved plan or something like that. I just want to make sure that what you have is what you need.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's what we, I'm looking at something right now, whether that's exactly, to the T, when it is all said and done, it might be off by, a plant or two, but it shouldn't be more than that.
That's not my point. My point just is, it was a preliminary, a sketchy plan, let's say, that was before you for the phase one of this work. And is that enough? Is that what you're going to be looking for the final approval of the plantings?
Yeah, we'll be referencing what the applicant submitted.
Yeah, okay.
For the planting
And you're fine with that, I guess. I mean, I guess you'd have to be, you approved it.
Yeah, and at this point, we kind of have to be fine with that because we've approved it. If they come back for other things, we can, ask for additional things that they may or may not agree to, but at this point, what is in the application and the approved plan is what we have to work with.
Okay, and you don't know whether they're going to be grassing the berms or not, or whether that's part of the loam and seed?
I'm not sure at this moment. Do you know if there's grass? I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of grass planted along with a row of trees around some of the property line.
Okay, something besides the weeds that are there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. If there's nobody else, we are going to move on to agenda item M. All right. Agenda item M is tree cutting discussion, 740 North Street. Is there any updates on that, Joe?
I had forwarded you guys some of my field notes today. I had gotten an email from, or not an email, in contact with 40 Germano Drive, not the homeowner, but the homeowner's daughter, who had said that they had already planted 5 trees. I had still informed them that we're still looking for a plan as per the letter that we had recently sent. And the photographs that I sent today shows it's 5 arborvitae, they're not actual trees, but I'm still asking for the plan. I just thought they may appear today, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the picture I saw of, I don't know how tall they get, not the type of trees that I was expecting.
Well, I thought we were going for like a like-kind quality.
Yeah, like,
Was that the
yeah.
impression?
So right off the bat, it's,
That's a bush.
yeah. And like, so far, we've tried to be, we have not tried to throw the book at anybody, because we could be asking for a lot more. We're asking for a lot less than is what is absolutely required.
In my opinion, it seems like we're dragging this on. I say it's time.
Yeah, May
So-
2nd is the
yeah.
day.
Yeah,
That's the day.
enough is enough.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what,
I don't know how you guys feel, but this just seems like they're ignoring us.
I think that was the intention of the last letter, to
Right.
pretty much force the issue. and
Right,
make
but
them
it doesn't
do
seem like
something.
we're getting, normally most people respond and say, hey, look, we're on it.
Also, based off the last letter, it's, okay, May 2nd, if nothing's there, then town council gets involved.
so yeah, that's,
Yeah,
yeah.
what's the closest meeting to May 2nd? So that's
It's like
like,
the first or second or
so
something. I
so
think
we'll
it's-
expect some response by then?
It's the first, probably. So it's the
Convenient.
day before.
Okay, so that was my 2 cents.
If there's no further discussion, I just want to ask, are you here for the tree cutting discussion?
No, I was actually here for the Kent Street.
Oh, you're just enjoying the show? All right.
None of it pertains to me, I was finding it interesting.
All right, so last item on the agenda is emergency certification for 70 Briarwood Road. Joe, could you fill us in on the details?
Yep, so this is an emergency certification issued for a failed septic system. The closest wetlands are about 90 feet away. The health department had issued their own order for them to tie in. And I would refer to the emergency certification document for the conditions. That's it.
Any questions or comments from the commission? If not, I will entertain a motion to ratify the emergency certification.
No, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Joe, any old business, new business, or administrators' reports?
No.
All right.
Good man. Right.
Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, the next meeting will be April 3rd, 2024. Now, could I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well.